Clara had always been fascinated by antique objects. She loved spending hours exploring thrift stores and antique shops, searching for forgotten treasures. It was on one of these expeditions that she found a mirror that would change her life forever. The mirror was large, with an ornate dark wooden frame and slightly fogged glass from age. The seller, an elderly man with tired eyes, warned Clara that the mirror had a dark history, but she, enchanted by the object's beauty, decided to buy it anyway. On the first night the mirror was in her room, Clara felt an odd uneasiness. She tried to ignore the sensation, telling herself it was just her imagination. But at midnight, she woke up with a chill. Looking at the mirror, she saw a shadowy figure reflected in it. When she turned to see if there was anyone in the room, she found nothing. Frightened, Clara covered the mirror with a cloth and tried to sleep, but the feeling of being watched wouldn't leave her. The next night, the same thing happened. This time, the figure in the mirror seemed clearer, and Clara could see it was a woman with empty eyes and a sinister smile. Desperate, Clara decided to get rid of the mirror. She tried to take it out of the room, but every time she moved it, the mirror reappeared in the same spot. It was as if the mirror was stuck to the room and she was stuck to the mirror. On the third night, Clara decided to confront the figure. At midnight, she positioned herself in front of the mirror and waited. When the figure appeared, Clara asked with a trembling voice, "Who are you, and what do you want?" The figure smiled and slowly reached out from the mirror, pulling Clara inside. Clara found herself in a long, dark corridor with antique wooden doors on both sides. Each door had a small glass window, and through them, Clara could see nightmarish scenes, shadowy figures, contorted faces, and shadows moving unnaturally. Desperate, Clara began to run down the corridor, trying to find a way out. The doors seemed to multiply, and the corridor stretched endlessly. Suddenly, she heard a voice whispering her name. It was the same voice she had heard from the mirror, but now it was clearer and closer. Clara stopped and turned slowly. The figure of the woman was there, blocking her path. Her empty eyes seemed to pierce Clara's soul, and her sinister smile widened even more. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" Clara asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The figure approached, and her voice echoed down the corridor. "I am Ilara, the guardian of this mirror. I was imprisoned here by an ancient spell, and I can only be freed if someone takes my place." Clara felt a chill run down her spine. "I don't want to take your place. I just want to get out of here." Ilara laughed, a cold and joyless sound. "You have no choice. This is the price to pay for disturbing the mirror. But I can offer you a chance. Solve the riddle and I will let you go." Clara nodded, desperate to find a way out. Ilara whispered the riddle in her ear. "In a place where time does not pass, where shadows dance and light does not shine, find the key that cannot be seen, and the door that does not open will open." Clara closed her eyes, trying to decipher the riddle. She thought about the doors, the shadows, and the light. Suddenly, an idea came to her mind. She turned and ran back down the corridor, looking for a specific door. Finally, she found a door that looked different from the others. The glass window was broken, and through it Clara could see total darkness. She reached out and felt something cold and metallic, a key. With trembling hands, Clara inserted the key into the lock and turned it. The door creaked open, revealing a mirror identical to the one in her room. Without hesitation, Clara stepped through the mirror and found herself back in her room, breathless and sweaty. The mirror was now empty, and the figure of Ilara had disappeared. Clara covered the mirror with a cloth and vowed never to look at it again. However, curiosity and fear consumed her. She knew she couldn't simply ignore what had happened. She decided she needed to find a way to seal the mirror forever. She spent days researching ancient spells and rituals until she found a dusty book in a forgotten library. The book spoke of how to seal supernatural portals using specific symbols and a powerful invocation. Clara copied the symbols and memorized the invocation, determined to end the torment. The next night, at midnight, Clara positioned herself in front of the covered mirror. With trembling hands, she drew the symbols around the mirror's frame using charcoal. When she finished, she took a deep breath and began to recite the invocation. By the ancient powers that govern time and space, I invoke the force that seals and protects this place. May the shadows be banished, may the light prevail, and may this portal close, never to open again. As she recited the words, the symbols began to glow with an intense light. The mirror trembled, and Clara could hear a distant scream, as if something was being dragged back into the depths. When the light finally faded, the mirror was silent and still. Clara slowly removed the cloth, fearing what she might see. But the reflection showed only her own face, tired but relieved. She knew she had succeeded. The mirror was sealed, and Elara was imprisoned forever. Clara decided it was time to get rid of the mirror once and for all. She took it to the basement and covered it with a heavy tarp, promising herself she would never touch it again. Years passed, and Clara continued with her life, always remembering the lesson she had learned. Some curiosities are better left untouched. The mirror remained in the basement, forgotten and dusty, a dark secret she would carry forever.